Ilsebard, divided in twain by a vast mountain range. Those who would traverse its jagged peaks face peril at every step. But why go by foot when one can simply fly? On the outskirts of the imperial capital, in the frozen wastes of the Magna Glacius, the winds howl in icy protest, as if to warn against further trespass.
We've received word from Thancred's reconnaissance party. They've sighted a detachment of heavily armed imperials.
Survivors of the Civil War, perhaps?
Perhaps, but there is more to it than that. Maxima reports that they're led by Vergilia, legatus of the 3rd Legion, which comprises the bulk of their number. However, they are also joined by several members of the 1st.
From what I recall, the 3rd Legion fought for Nerva in the War of Succession following Varus's death. The 1st, on the other hand, were under the direct command of the Emperor and rejected Nerva's claim to the throne. These legions were enemies.
Indeed. In fact, our sources claim that it was a conflict between them that sparked the Civil War. Yet now, these former foes cooperate to defend a ruined Garlemald from invasion.
Then it is all but certain they have been tempered.
So, what's the plan? If me and my crew is out reaving, we charge straight in, no messing about. But that ain't what we're here for.
Quite right. Soldiers or no, they are people of Garlemald. The very ones we have come to aid. Direct confrontation is unavoidable. Nevertheless, we must make every effort to limit casualties on both sides. Rather than kill them, I would remove them from the field.
How so? Savage beatings, disarmament, and imprisonment? Not impossible, but easier said than done in the heat of battle.
Having observed the opposition, I imagine Thancred had something to suggest?
He did. He and the other scouts have already infiltrated a supply depot some distance beyond the Imperial detachment's current position. Stored within is a stockpile of magitek armaments, and once we give the signal, Thancred's team will destroy them all. In so doing, we will deprive frontline troops of materiel, and likely force the detachment to send men to investigate.
Divide and conquer. Not a bad idea.
Once the scouts have finished their preparations, we will split into 2 groups. The first will form the vanguard, while the other brings up the rear with our supplies. As for the Scions, I ask that you lend your assistance where you deem it needed most. I would prefer, however, that you accompany the rearguard and be prepared to join the van at a moment's notice. Kept in reserve as our trump card, so to speak.
proposal was well received. More specifically, they asked that we destroy the Imperials' toys in as spectacular a fashion as possible.
Miss Stoller always did have a flair for the dramatic. She's not an easy woman to please, but I shall do my best to satisfy her thirst for fireworks. All right. Once more for my peace of mind. Our first objective will be to rig the enemy's magitek with explosives. After we've withdrawn to a safe distance, we'll detonate them remotely. Our second will be to issue a deactivation command to the automated units via the control terminal. If our calculations are correct, this signal should reach those deployed on the front line, giving our friends a much-needed upper hand. A blizzard will help us stay hidden, so let's aim to get in and out before it passes. Trust in the plan, and we should all live to see tomorrow.
In the meantime, I will relay messages back and forth as the situation unfolds. You'll forgive me if I ask again, but are you certain you wish to play the lone wolf?
Wouldn't have it any other way. Call it foolish and reckless if you like, but I'll get the job done. I always do.
Very well. I wish you the best of luck. Keep your wits about you.
It's time. We only have one shot at this, so let's make it count. Seven hells. This is Thancred. The explosives are in place.
Very good. All is proceeding as planned. Head to the control terminal. It should be to the northwest.
Understood. Have the others wait at the rendezvous point. Seven hells. Must be losing my touch.
You are returned, and none the worse for wear, to my considerable relief.
What news from our comrades?
They stand at the ready.
Excellent. Then let the fireworks begin.
The blizzard's beginning to clear. The vanguard should be engaging the imperials any moment now, if they haven't already. Ishtola and the others are with them, so I'm sure they'll be all right, but... Wait! Something's coming!
Oi, oi! Looks like we ain't the only ones who sent out scouts. Keep them away from the carriages! We lose those, and we're as good as dead! the others!
A brief respite, but stay alert. Keep the carriages safe.
What impeccable timing! Fear not, friends! The savior of Sicard is here!
Display, but the other carriages are still in danger. Go on ahead. We'll hold the line.
We're the only ones still struggling. Oh, we put our backs into it. I've been itching for a back there? We're fine and ready for more. Hear that? Get to the front and turn the tide!
Removed from the field was not a euphemism for enthusiastically murder.
It's nothing that won't heal. In time. The trouble is, their tempering has made them utterly fearless. Subduing them would be easier if they had the capacity to submit in the first place.
Well, this is the path our young charges would have us walk, and that we all agreed to follow. You knew it would be hard, yet still you pledged your lance, did you not?
That I did.
That's Vergilia! Damn it. I need to help the others take her down.
There's no end to them!
I was wondering when you'd turn up. There's no stopping us now. Come on, let's show them what we're made of.
We have them now! Forward!
the sun!
Rest, recover, reclaim yourself. Then we will fight again, to the death.
Sadu A-Ruhn!
That was the last of them. The day is ours, thanks to your timely arrival. What of the supply caravan? Outmaneuvered, but not outmatched. Good. Let us take the Imperials into custody and rejoin our comrades. And soon we shall arrive at the capital.
So cold and unforgiving. Thus spoke Emperor Solus as he gazed upon his barren domain. "800 years it had been since the Garleans first set foot here. Bested by the Kavosi after centuries of war and driven from fertile southern pastures into the blasted northern wastes. In that garden of desolation, they clung to one another for warmth, freezing, hungry, desperate, hated. The chosen forsaken. In the year 1513 of the 6th Astral Era, a young legatus named Solus single-handedly sparked the magitek revolution. How did he conceive the machina that feed on ceruleum? Once a common, soft-spoken soldier, how had he so quickly ascended through the ranks? Like so many others, those who knew the truth are gone. Taking in the capital with his eyes for the first time, I recall thinking to myself, far colder on the earth than in the heavens. Yes, far colder indeed, bitterly so.
Not so much as a whisper.
The roads leading beyond the city walls would have been used less in recent years. Nevertheless, this was one of the most important gateways into the capital.
A buzz day and night with activity, aye. Merchants passing through the checkpoint, many of them stopping at the local hostelries.
Surely they cannot all have been tempered.
We can consider the question after we have made camp. If we spend any longer outside, we may well freeze to death where we stand. The tempered imperials, too.
This will be our temporary base of operations. Secure shelter for ourselves and the injured, and dispatch scouts to survey the surrounding area.
If we're planning on staying here a while, we ought to give this place a proper name.
Well, the constant sound of ice cracking underfoot makes me think of broken glass. An apt name, perhaps. But enough of this. To work, everyone!
Is that all of them?
The last of those who agreed to join us, yes.
We left heaters and provisions for those who wish to stay behind. They won't last forever, but hopefully they'll last long enough.
For now, I think everyone's earned a rest. We'll see to those in need of medical attention, so take the others with you and get yourselves some hot soup.
Warmth. At last.
Marvelous, isn't it? All thanks to the resourceful machinists of Sicard, I might add. On their behalf, I bid you warm yourself to your heart's content.
Hold on. Your people might have scribbled a few things on a piece of parchment, but it was our Minson Smiths that put the bloody things together.
Well, be that as it may, we single-handedly got the interior heating up and running again, didn't we?
The hells you did! We were there every step of the way!
We? You barely raised a finger to help, you ale-sodden reprobate!
I did a damn sight more than you lily-livered bilge-rat!
Take that back!
Make me.
I will not stoop to your level!
Here.
At ease, man. There's nothing funny in it. I'm from Alamigo, but was a conscript until recently. Used to eat this with the officers.
Apparently, it's adapted from a steppe recipe. This is my first time trying it, and I have to say, it's not half bad.
It's a bit too flavorful for my liking.
Perhaps compared to what you're used to.
It's the little things that make life worth living, don't you think?
I know this is not a dream, and yet... I felt the same way at the Dragon Song War's end. Every morning I would step outside and need to be reminded that it wasn't my imagination, that my world had been forever changed. And just as I had grown accustomed to the idea, again you change my world in ways I never thought possible. Were it not for you and your fellow Scions, the rifts between man and dragon and myriad tribes might never have been bridged. The Grand Company of Eorzea, the Ilsabard contingent. We owe it all to you. We've shed many tears in recent days, of pain and sorrow, triumph and joy. I much prefer the latter. Indeed, we can but do our utmost to unite these disparate peoples and lead them to victory.
It is a remarkable achievement. Everything that I and the Populares had hoped for, and more.
Would that it had come sooner.
Indeed. Too many are not here to see it. And yet, there is a warmth in my breast, as if they still share in this moment.
Yes, I know what you mean. On a night like tonight, the wind and cold seem to pass me by.
Thank you for inviting me today.
What? Emperor Varus?
They are being tempered. The talismans! Quickly!
Save me, brave hero!
My lord has requested your presence, and I would hate to disappoint him.
The experiment was a success, but I fear our time is short. I shall begin the preparations.
Now, it is time for you to awaken. Good morrow to you. Here, have a taste before it gets cold. Oh, but be sure to remove your helmet. Take a moment, too, to familiarize yourself with that borrowed flesh. So, how does it feel? I, for one, find those first moments within a new body to be most refreshing. We had a magitek engineer by the name of Aulus to thank for this method of soul extraction and implantation. I believe the two of you met briefly in Alamigo. His was a rather sticky end, wasn't it? Thankfully, he was thoughtful enough to leave behind his mind-jack technology. I took the liberty of making some improvements and selecting you as my esteemed test subject. Come now, to us Ascians it is no different from trying on new clothes. Why not make the most of it by partaking in this fine cuisine? I must say, I have gone to great lengths to reunite you with my lord. When I discovered that his friend was in this neck of the woods, I suggested inviting you over for dinner. He never deigned to respond, but I took his silence as a resounding yes. Daddy is pleased his grumpy little boy has finally found his playmate. Exposition is in order. The Garlean Empire has long outlawed all forms of religion. No gods to worship, no risk of summoning. Brilliantly simple. But people being people must turn to something or someone in their hour of need. Who then? Why, His Radiance the Emperor, of course. As you have observed firsthand, Garlemald has seen better days. The legendary Solus Galvus, dead. Provinces near and far in open rebellion. Our bold new emperor assassinated. And that last one even sparked a civil war. What rotten luck. The people cried out for salvation. Their earnest pleas, one might even call them prayers, a supplication united for the Empire to reclaim her former glory. And so their will did manifest, channeled through the corpse of none other than Emperor Varus himself. And lo, the Savior was born. The embodiment of the Garlean spirit. Their anima. It calls to its subjects, compelling them to take up arms and fight. And just as the wealth and power gravitate towards the Empire's capital, so too does ether from every corner of the globe. The towers with which you and your allies have been so preoccupied were created as an extension of anima itself. An ingenious design. Would you not agree, my lord?
Does the pursuit of prey you have bested before excite you? Of course not. Absent the challenge, the thrill, your prize is a hollow victory. Butchery. Perhaps you think that to be the extent of my promise. I have no doubt fallen in your estimation since Alamigo. Fair enough. But do not let your disdain deprive us, of an opportunity to craft an even more majestic moment of euphoria. I have been honing my craft as I set the stage for our reunion. Wheresoever there is suffering and despair, you appear to fulfill your duty as defender of this star. The chaos and destruction that my hordes have wrought are my gifts to you alone. At a loss for words? No matter. As you will learn, I have only just begun.
Oh, will you not finish your meal?
There is only one thing that can sate my hunger, and it would seem my friend has lost his appetite. I hoped this display of civility might prove an entertaining diversion, but clearly we are above such pretensions. While my lifeless body was in the possession of the Ascian, I too claimed another's as my own. It was an enlightening experience to fight in an unfamiliar form. Flaws and failings in my technique were plain to see. Whence rises one's true strength? The flesh? The soul? Perhaps you should like to discover the answer for yourself.
Dear! Whatever would happen if my lord were to greet your friends as you? I shudder to imagine what carnage he would wreak. We'd better hurry if we want to avert the bloodbath. You can thank me later for my generosity. There it is. Your camp, I believe. If I were to hazard a guess, I would say that you, the other you, is making his way there as we speak. Alas, this you will have to walk from here. Or run, if you can manage it. My lord would be cross if I made it too easy. Such ingratitude. I'd not squander this fighting chance. After all, you've obstacles enough to overcome. Right on cue. Tempered soldiers, with standing orders to kill those not sworn to Anima. Under normal circumstances, you would make short work of them. But on this occasion, the odds are not so heavily stacked in your favor. given your diminished capacity. Nevertheless, 'twould perhaps be prudent to keep to the shadows, scurrying about like a rodent.
It is a miracle we were able to restrain the Tempered without suffering casualties.
A welcome one. A-Ruhn-Senna and the others have their hands full as it is. Thankfully, there are enough scales for everyone.
And what of Eulus? His symptoms were particularly severe.
They were, but others fared still worse, including some brought back from the Magna Glacius. As those in most desperate need take priority, it may be a while before he receives treatment. But rest assured that he will. In the meantime, we must find our missing friend. May the Fury guide you.
Of all the bloody times for a disappearing act.
Right when the first wave struck, we'd be fools to think it a coincidence. But where even to begin the search? No one saw him leave in the chaos, and we've no trail to follow.
While I know full well he can handle himself, I worry all the same.
Ah, speak of the devil.
Well, time to call off the search.
Case closed.
That's him. Over there.
Aye, 'twould appear so. Thou art struggling to perceive his presence?
I am. Perhaps, in the aftermath of the wave, there is some residual effect interfering with my faculties. But...
Where have you been? We've been worried sick.
Now. All's well that ends well. Are you all right?
Are you all right?
Who are you?
Sadly, that is all we have time for today. The effect has run its course, and back to your own bodies you must go. But where are my manners? You have all traveled so very far, and I have yet to pay my respects. Though in my defense, I was ill-prepared to receive so many uninvited guests. As such, preliminary entertainments were in order. A handful of tempered soldiers to hamper your progress. Refugees to command your attention while I siphon the ceruleum from the shadows. Particularly effective. Charitable souls that you are, you bent over backwards to aid them. Heedless of the delay. Predictable to a fault. And so my plan approaches completion unhindered. Anima will soon have absorbed the requisite amount of ether. And then shall come the spectacle to end all spectacles. The eldest, and most powerful of primals will awaken, and all shall bear witness to the final days.
The gods themselves will be my meal. Your dear companions my dessert. Upon this world I'll feast, and death shall follow in my wake. All your hate, all your rage, you will render unto me.
For upon thy life's reel wind too many threads of fate, power, weal enmeshed with woe. More terrible still is the attrition wrought upon thy companions, as they are swept up in the storm of thine existence. Take heart and protect them well. They will be your strength and your salvation.
Thank goodness. He's awake.
I am pleased to report you are very much alive.
Everything in working order? That's a relief. Oh, and before I forget, thanks for coming to our rescue.
Given recent events, I would be surprised if you weren't feeling a bit poorly. A hearty meal and a long rest would be my recommendation under normal circumstances, but these are anything but. If Van Daniel's boasts are to be believed, we must act quickly. Once you've blown away the cobwebs, we can discuss preparations for our assault on the Tower of Babel.